Hello, welcome to Startup Day
Yes.
2022. Everybody have a seat, we are ready to get started. My name is Courtney Piper, this is Chris McAdoo. We are
everybody.
back as your dynamic hosting duo for Startup Day this year, bringing you 6 of Knoxville's best startups.
6 of Knoxville's best startups. That's right, Courtney. So we've got a lot to celebrate this year, you guys. So there's folks like Genera,
Yep.
an acquisition and a $200 million investment that's going to create between 120 and 150 jobs right here in Von Orr.
That's right.
We've got so much going on. We've got RegScale, $20 million in Series A. We've got ReviewBox, James Horry, now part of Talkwalker.
That's right. And a Startup Day alum.
And a Startup Day alum. We've got Smart RIA, another Startup Day alum with a big raise. We've got, wait a second.
What'd you forget?
Fun facts, Storage Pug, Tommy Wynn on the Inc. 5000 list. Number 575.
Another Startup Day alum.
He has grown, that company has grown 1,101% over 3 years.
That's great.
Give that. That's the kind of people, that's the kind of innovation, that's the kind of work that we do here in Knoxville. And we can't forget Mom Source Network.
Yes.
Courtney Jones, give that up because she's now part of Bolo Solutions. If you know Courtney, you know that she is so dialed into what she wants to do and the things that she can accomplish. And Courtney shared a really cool story with me just last month. She was flying from Dallas back to Knoxville, Tennessee, and they get in the seat, and it was apparently the one flight that was actually working that day. But the captain comes on and says, "We'd like to welcome you to this flight. We're going to be touching down in about 2 hours in Knoxville, otherwise known as the Maker City."
Woo!
So we've made the big time, or at least we've made the airlines.
We have.
You know?
We have. And in addition to all of that activity, we welcomed 20 new clean tech and deep tech companies to Knoxville just this year.
We've had the Techstars Industries of the Future Accelerator. They completed their first cohort.
And Oak Ridge National Labs welcomed their 6th Innovation Crossroads cohort.
And there keeps on being more. The Spark Clean Tech Accelerator at the UT Research Park graduated its first cohort just last month.
So on top of all this activity, we're building a clean tech hub in Knoxville. No small task, but that's what we do in Knoxville. We lead.
That's exactly right. And we take intentional ownership of that leadership. Not to put on a top hat and dance around about it, but the Maker City Summit that kicked off Innovate 6.5 Week brought together hundreds of creatives to the Maker Exchange over the course of 3 days, where they learned how to lead, how to grow, and build careers around what they love. And several of our friends that we know, like Sue Malone, like Martha Weeks, were part of that crowd.
That's right. So Chris, what are we going to experience here today?
Well, everybody, we've got 6 startups. 6 incredible startups from with all different focuses. And we're going to need your help. So they're competing for up to $10,000, but as it turns out, you, the people in this crowd, are responsible for $7,000 of that prize. So everybody's got your program. Hold on, I'm going to do the thing where I do this, and then I'm going to hold up the program, and you've got this QR code in there. And that'll be a link so that you can vote for your favorite when the time comes, right?
That's right.
And we're also going to have a $3,000 Judge's Choice Prize presented by Truist. And we're going to highlight a startup that has made just incredible progress since their Startup Day debut with the Innovate 6.5 Traction Award brought to you by our friends at Verizon.
That's right. Well, Chris, now we've got to thank our sponsors. This entire week would not be possible without their support. First, I want to thank and recognize the Innovate 6.5 Alliance. These fine folks recognize that entrepreneurship is essential to the success of our community. They work together to develop, support, and promote Knoxville's entrepreneurial ecosystem. Founding members of the Innovate 65 Alliance include Bunker Labs, the UT Research Foundation, Oak Ridge National Lab, TVA, the Knoxville Entrepreneur Center, the City of Knoxville, Launch Tennessee, Three Roots Capital, the Knoxville Chamber, the UT Research Park, PYA, and Veteran Ventures. Thank you all so much to the Innovate 65 Alliance. And we have a bunch of other sponsors that are also in your program. I want to take a moment to recognize them as well. Verizon sponsoring the Traction Award, the University of Tennessee Knoxville, the University of Tennessee System, CGI, Visit Knoxville, WATE, Six on Your Side, Truist, and Pilot. Sponsors, thank you very much for your support.
And, give the sponsors a hand. They help put this on. They put the food on the table and the drinks in the bellies, as they say. And while we're at it, give us some love on social media. Hashtag Innovate65. We love to combine words. So INNOV865.
That's right. All right, everybody, keep your eyes on the big screen. Welcome to Startup Day.
We don't follow, we lead.
And Knoxville isn't the next anything.
We are the first maker city.
We are a clean tech hub.
We are a dynamic urban wilderness destination.
We are the gateway to the Smokies.
We are the cradle of country music.
We are home to industries of the future.
We are the cutting edge of research and development.
We are Knoxville.
We had the opportunity to choose to go anywhere we wanted, and we chose Knoxville for a couple of reasons. One, it worked for the company. Two, it worked for my family.
As an entrepreneur, I wish more people knew that Knoxville has a wealth of resources. There are so many agencies and organizations that are willing to help do anything that you need them to do.
What I love about Knoxville is the mix of outdoor activities, and that help balance work and life. That's very important for us scientists.
It's a place that fosters small businesses. I get all of my help and guidance from like-minded people all within the city.
I think we're a humble little city that's full of hard-working people.
Knoxville lives at the intersection of art and innovation.
This is a community that lifts up and looks up.
We thrive on big, challenging, world-changing ideas.
And we build on a creative culture that breaks ground and breaks barriers every day for generations to come.
A big idea is one thing. A spark, a catalyst, a conversation starter.
But a big idea with a community behind it, that's unstoppable.
What Knoxville has is different because it's homegrown. We have a community of entrepreneurs who have been incredibly successful, and they reinvest into new entrepreneurs.
Here in Knoxville, I got access to a lot of bright minds between UT and Oak Ridge that understood the language of taking a scientific research to the applied field.
I love that Knoxville sees small makers as entrepreneurs. They're like, how can we treat these people as like a commodity?
Everything about Knoxville works for my company. As a startup, we have to get results, and the bottom line is we have gotten results here.
We are Knoxville, and if you make colors come to life,
Manufacture carbon nanotubes,
Delight in culinary perfection.
Develop the next big app.
Or love supporting and celebrating entrepreneurship.
Come join us. We are made for all entrepreneurs.
So we got to see and meet a lot of those entrepreneurs in that video. Again, Knoxville is home for all entrepreneurs. And somebody that champions all of those entrepreneurs is somebody that I'm very proud. I'm proud to introduce and proud to bring on stage Knoxville's Mayor, India Kincannon.
Hello and
and welcome to Startup Day. I am so pleased to see all of you here, and I am so pleased to be excited to see the pitch today, the pitches from all 6 of those entities, some of which I've known for many years as a customer. Some of the entities I met this summer as part of our Spark Clean Tech Accelerator program right here in Knoxville, and one I just learned about today, and I happened to download the Think Up app today, and if you haven't had a chance, I recommend it. So I am feeling good and want to share my positive energy with all of you. So they didn't have the ability to play my normal entry song because they already had one lined up. So indulge me a little bit and sing along at the right time. So I do my hair toss, check my nails. Baby, how you feel? All right, that's pretty good. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good because of all the entrepreneurs who make our city great, and that is all entrepreneurs. It's makers, it's artists, it's people who take risks, and it's entrepreneurs who've made it, who are helping out people who are just getting started. And that's what makes Knoxville great. That's what gives us our energy. And whether it's lithium batteries or an app or crafts people and doing all the kinds of things that you're about to hear more about today, this is what makes our city great. So welcome. I hope you're having a great Innovate 6.5 week. Let me see what my actual remarks are saying. The energy in our community is contagious. I don't know if we can say that just yet. Contagious is a funny word. But the energy in our city and our community, and thanks to you all, is growing every day, and it's very positive, and I'm thrilled to be mayor of a city that embraces entrepreneurs. Knoxville is a welcoming, fertile place for entrepreneurs to start and grow your businesses and increase access to capital. So thanks to all the financial folks who are helping invest in these young companies. I want to send a special thanks to the people that have already been thanked, but bears repeating. These entities are large, established institutions that are helping build our entrepreneurial ecosystem. Oak Ridge National Lab, University of Tennessee Research Foundation, Launch Tennessee, TVA, PYA, the Knoxville Entrepreneur Center, the University of Tennessee Anderson Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation, Three Roots Capital, UT Research Park, and Bunker Labs. I am so passionate, as your mayor, to be making sure that we have a diversified economy. If there's anything we've learned in the last few years is that we can't rely on just one source for economic vibrancy. We need to have a lot of different companies, different sizes, different sectors to thrive as a community. And Knoxville understands this and supports your efforts and your ideas. And City Council gets it too. Are there any City Council members in the audience? Well, they're getting ready for our meeting tonight. But on our meeting agenda tonight includes many of the things I'm about to mention. We support, through the City's Council support, $1.8 million for Knoxville Economic Development Partners, the Knoxville Chamber, the Knoxville Community Development Corporation, and the Knoxville Entrepreneur Center. We also, this year, included continued funding to support business development in the Latino community in partnership with Centro Hispano, and funding for the Entrepreneur Center to support small businesses, including the 100 Knoxville Project to grow Black-owned businesses and the Maker City Initiative. I also very excited to report that Knoxville ranks as the 16th best clean tech hub in the country. 16th best in the country. Let's have a round of applause for that. Sometimes we don't know how good we are, so I like to applaud that we're 16th, ahead of Austin, ahead of Houston, ahead of Phoenix, ahead of Dallas. We got a lot of good things going on here, and I'm really proud of that. So thank you, Innovate 6.5, and everyone here for all you do to bring people together and to inspire and nourish the entrepreneurial spirit in our community. Look forward to today's pitches. Enjoy Startup Day, and may the best pitch win. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mayor Kincannon. Give her one more hand, please. So she did remind me of something that I think we're all starting to take more pride in, is that Knoxville is the first maker city, the only maker city, and every single person in this room has a role of taking intentional move towards just putting that right in the ground. We don't apologize for not being somewhere else. We are proud, and we are Knoxville. With that being said, I am really excited to introduce our judges. So if you guys will come up as I say your name. Jenna Johns, the Chief Operating Officer of RDI Technologies and former Innovate 65 Traction Award winner. Welcome, Jenna, to the stage. Next up is Carol Carden. She is the Managing Principal of Valuation Services at PYA. Carol, welcome to the Innovate 65 stage. Next up is Tanika Harper of the Shora Foundation, Harper's Naturals, and the Women Foundation. So, y'all, you have a tough job today. As judges, you will award the $3,000 prize, courtesy of the fine folks at Truist. And so, you guys are going to be looking at these amazing pitches, these incredible businesses, and these founders. So with that in mind, I'm going to ask a question that I'd like each of you to answer. And I'm going to start with Tanika, actually. And when you meet a founder, an entrepreneur, or a company, what are some of the qualities that make you know that they're investable or that that's a company that's ready to grow?
That is a great question. And I know one of the things that I look for is sustainability. Is their product or service, is it going to be sustainable in the future years to come? And I also look at how much either sweat equity or personal financial interest they have put into their business already. Because as an entrepreneur, there are going to be times where, I mean, you have to maybe dig out of your pocket a little bit or put some sweat equity in. And if you haven't done that or you think that that is not a part of it, then I might have some questions about that.
That's great. So Jenna, sort of following on that, you have helped build, RDI to a place where even 5 years ago, could you have ever seen that, happening, which is so amazing. What are some of the things that you have seen, that let you know that somebody is either ready to be invested in or is ready to be able to make it?
I think to follow on a little bit of what Tanika said is I think grit is really important. So when you see somebody who is willing to put in the work, they're willing to, adjust and move with a changing environment. Often entrepreneurship is not easy, and what we go out looking to do can change as the market changes and the environment changes. So somebody who really wants to make it happen and is also willing to adapt and adjust and change to make it happen as well.
So adaptability. Carol, as Chief of Valuation for PYA, you see a lot of companies. So what are some of the things that you've seen maybe in the past couple years, and what do you see as the potential for a changing landscape of what makes companies investable moving forward?
Yeah, so I think if we've learned anything the last couple of years, it's how to be adaptable, right? We've all had to pivot from maybe office-based cultures and ways that we've done things historically to a completely new dynamic. And so I think companies that can demonstrate they have that kind of flexibility and aren't kind of married to the old ways or the old ideas and open-minded are going to fare better in a commerce like we have right now, which is so very different than it was just a few years ago.
Well, and I think also a pivot that goes from someone who maybe has a passion for a product or a service to a person that becomes a leader, right? So Jenna, I'll start you off here. What are some of the things that you did as your company grew to make sure that you were staying sort of in front of the curve in terms of company growth and leadership development?
I would say one of the most important things we did was hiring the right people. So making sure that we brought in people that really were complementary to our skill sets and that filled the gaps that we had, so that we weren't sitting here with, trying to get to this next level and we didn't have the experience or the skill set to get there. So I think it's being honest about, what you're missing, and then looking for that and bringing that onto your team to kind of complement and get you to the next level.
And Tanika, what are some of the qualities that you've looked for as an investor yourself through the Women Foundation in somebody that is willing to both listen, be listened to, and build a team?
Yeah, I think we look for people who are teachable. A lot of times when we talk about funding businesses, we fund sometimes a lot of early stage even though they're post-revenue, they're in 1 to 3 years. And a lot of times they still need some technical assistance. And so we look for people who are teachable, who will take effective criticism and how to mold their businesses and grow their businesses. So we're not just looking for people who just want us to write a check. So we are looking for people who are looking to grow in their leadership as well and be able to hear and listen.
That's great. And Carol, the last little bit here, that same thing. What are some of the tools and behaviors that you've watched people grow into that you always say, make sure to do this?
Yeah, I think especially with an early stage company, passion can't be discounted at all. So I think passion for your product or service and the ability to communicate that in a way that rings of authenticity is very important, because as a startup, you're going to have to convince a lot of people to be as excited about your product or service as you are.
And if you don't believe in it, nobody else will,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
Well, judges, I do not envy your position. You're going to have some hard decisions to make. Are you guys ready to hear our first pitch? All right. We want to welcome to the stage Don DeRosa and Ionix.
What's up, everybody? My name is Don DeRosa. I'm the CEO of Ionix. We develop custom chemistry lithium-ion batteries for application-specific problems. We don't develop PowerPoint. Is this on? Yeah, it's not working. So. Works? All right, cool. It wasn't on. We're good. So lithium-ion batteries, as I'm sure you're aware in the news, are going to have a profound impact on our lives over the next decade. From the electric vehicle that we commute to work in, to the renewables that are stored on the grid, even to the cell phone in your pocket, lithium-ion batteries dictate whether we can text, drive, or turn on the AC in the summer. So obviously this is poised to be a huge market. It's projected to be $80 billion in the next 5 years. But there's a problem. Each of these applications have vastly different needs. Think about it this way. The battery in your iPhone that stinks after 6 months probably shouldn't be in the electric vehicle you plan to drive for 10 years. So each of these markets requires a different battery chemistry. That's super tough. Let's take a look at some examples. These companies are trying to make batteries for electric vehicles. The first one, Solid Power, after 12 years, $380 million in funding, still at the prototype stage. SES, 10 years, $600 million in funding, still at the prototype stage. QuantumScape, 11 years, $1.2 billion in funding. Surely, they have to have something, right? Wrong, still at the prototype stage. And these are the successful examples. So in short, battery materials design takes decades of research, hundreds of millions in funding, and typically fails. We're changing that. We've developed an embedded sensor that allows us to measure how materials behave in real time. We've paired that with automated analysis software that allows us to compress months of research down to days. We then partnered with a leader in computational chemistry, Schrödinger. They bring physics-based simulations and an expertise in materials machine learning to the table. That allows us to automate material selection. So we can look at hundreds of thousands of chemicals before we even step into the lab. In short, we've created the first rapid end-to-end automated materials discovery for lithium-ion batteries. This is 35 times faster than conventional research and 15 times cheaper. We're taking the decades and shrinking it down to months, the hundreds of millions down to thousands, and making something that actually works. So what have we done with this? In 2020, we received a contract from the Department of Defense to design non-flammable lithium-ion batteries. Military doesn't want their batteries to explode. Kind of makes sense. 4 months later, using our platform, we designed a drop-in compatible material with current lithium-ion batteries that makes it non-flammable. So the one on the left, a commercial lithium-ion battery in an overvoltage safety test. The one on the right, a battery that was manufactured in the same facility with the material we designed using our platform. A non-flammable, super boring result, which is what we actually want. In 2021, we scaled up that technology into larger cells, and in 2022, we received a $1.7 million contract from the Army to provide them with demonstration cells to evaluate. And the most exciting thing is, this technology can be scaled in existing factories, meaning that it's rapidly scalable. But this isn't just for the military. We've received interest from maritime, grid, and electric vehicle energy storage systems as well. And this represents a $7.9 billion market opportunity. So how did we get here? To date, we've received $4 million in non-dilutive funding. We're located right across the river at Cherokee Farms Research Park. And earlier this year, we signed a $15 million partnership with the computational company I mentioned earlier. But we're not done. In addition to our non-flammable lithium-ion battery product, we've already started projects on rapidly charging lithium-ion batteries for consumer electronics. So think a 5-minute battery, and also affordable lithium-ion batteries to help accelerate the adoption of electric vehicles. And we're doing all of this in Knoxville. Very exciting stuff. And with that, I'll take some questions.
On your previous slide, when you showed the other segments other than Department of Defense, you don't have to back up.
Oh, all right.
I was just curious, is the technology that you've developed to date, will it work for all of those already, and it's just these other products that you're still developing toward?
Yeah, so those are commercial markets that have applicability for that specific non-flammable lithium-ion battery chemistry. They're other applications that have a need in safety where they pay a financial penalty because batteries are inherently unsafe. So they have to layer on more engineering, and there's a lot of cost additions there that we can eliminate.
So the question I had was on that process. So it seems like the secret sauce behind what you guys are doing is the process that you have developed to test these batteries and to test these chemicals and everything. Have you pursued patenting of that? Or are you keeping it as trade secrets? How are you, ensuring that this process doesn't get utilized by, competitive products out there?
Yeah, so the sensor itself is a materials-based innovation that we retain as a trade secret. So you'd have to figure out what material we developed that's a benign sensor that you can put in a battery and not change how it behaves. That was monumentally difficult to do, and there's very little fundamental research out there to replicate it. So we have retained that, and given the intellectual property climate globally, in terms of how Asia views intellectual property, we decided to retain that internally. So we feel pretty well protected there. On our partnership, we own all intellectual property associated with any machine learning models that are developed using the data that we generate and any physics-based simulation workflows.
So I just have probably more of a clarifying question and then one real question. So I know that you have received some funding from DOD and the Army. So is the product already in production and you're providing it to them, or they have just backed you with funding?
They've given us a follow-on tranche of funding to provide them with demonstration devices. So you could think of that as like a limited production run, but obviously when it comes to lithium-ion batteries, there are a lot of certifications that we have to go through, which in part that funding helps us proceed through. And the final product for the military, they buy batteries in modules, so clusters of batteries. So we had to go out and partner with those manufacturers so that they could have a product they could actually demonstrate. Yeah, so.
And then my question is, part of your funding, are you talking to any angel investors right now, or have they committed any funding?
Yeah, so we are actually actively fundraising. We're looking to raise an $8 million private round, and that's really to scale up our system so that we can generate as much data as possible. We have a 3-year clock on our strategic partnership. We want to make sure that we get the most robust machine learning models out of that.
I think we're getting the hook.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
All right, thank you, Don DeRosa with the Onyx. Another hand. So that is absolutely world-changing. And so I know we kind of ran out of time. So Carol, I wanted to give you a chance to kind of say what were you going to ask, and what do you think about this opportunity and or challenge?
Yeah, I was interested to hear what the ETA is on the consumer products, like the smaller batteries and the car batteries, because as we've all heard, big push towards electric vehicles right now. So I was just interested in kind of where they are in that process, because there's going to be huge demand.
Well, and a question, Tanika, I was really interesting, like, is this in the market? Is it working? What are some of the challenges that or the opportunities that you might see something like this going into communities and places that typically don't get served? You know what I mean? Like with this kind of technology.
Well, I'm definitely thinking, piggybacking off Carol, what would the cost look like to the average consumer? And is that something that our average consumer could afford, possibly, to have access to this great product? So it's one thing for the Army and DOD and government institutions to be able to buy it, but can your average citizen buy it?
How does that translate to the household?
That's right.
So Jenna, the last question for you, as someone who's been in this technology space for so long, what was the thing that really stood out to you?
The thing that stood out to me was, the way he answered figuring out how to keep his competitive advantage. So with technology is changing so rapidly and so quickly, and you have these companies that he talked about that have, millions and billions of dollars in some instances. So it's being able to have something that those people don't have and can't have. And so I think it was a smart decision to keep it trade secret. And the hope is for them that they can kind of keep that under wraps and maintain that advantage.
All right, thank you so much, guys. And another round of applause for Ionix and our judges. All right, we are keeping things moving here, and I am so excited to introduce you to Douglas Mapp and Think Up.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Douglas Mapp, founder of Think Up, where we improve the brain skills of working professionals. Has this ever happened to you? You're sitting there watching TV, and a thought comes to mind, and then you get up, you walk down the hall to the kitchen, and you stand around and look around and say, what am I doing in here? Well, then you walk back to the living room, and you sit down, and you're like, where's the remote? What did I do with that? Well, that same thing happens to each one of us at work. But at work, it looks like you forgot to send that important email, or you forgot to pay attention to the little detail that made you miscalculate a particular calculation. Or you could get distracted and procrastinate when it comes to a big project. Now, although that happens to us at work on the individual level, it may not seem like such a big deal. When you apply that to the collective and into organizations, it can have significant impacts. And what it's doing is actually hurting our execution. And what we're seeing is that when you study public companies and their ability to sustain profitability, only 13% of them actually sustain that level of success. And execution is our #1 problem. Now, we're educated plenty. More than ever before have you seen people who are graduating college. So lack of knowledge is not our issue. I've been leading a brain training organization for the last 4 years, and what I've learned is that our modern world, the tech world we've built, is causing some impacts on how our brain works. So, you may have heard of IQ, which is about our intelligence and our smarts, and you may have even heard of EQ, which is about our emotional intelligence. But what you may not have heard of is XQ, which is our execution quotient. Now, when you take IQ plus EQ and you add cognitive flexibility, you get XQ, strong XQ, which allows you to get things done consistently. Now, some of the clients that we've worked with have stated that when we work with them in improving their teams and their people, that they've seen improvement in attention to detail, productivity, and in communication, along with efficiency. We offer 3 lines of service in order to maintain profitability. We have Lead Up for leaders in management, a cognitive development program we take them through to improve their cognitive function skills or their brain skills. Then we have Sync Up, which is our ability to help people improve in their work engagement when it comes to their teams and departments. And then last, we have the Think Up Lifestyle, which is a platform for people looking to skill up. Now, we're here today as one of the early stage companies, and we're looking to raise $250,000 to accelerate our growth. We will use the funds to start building our sales team. We'll also improve our marketing assets, and we'll also build and create a client dashboard. With the winning from this event, the funds would be used to jumpstart our marketing efforts. Now, our team is composed of myself and Mr. Adam Panter, whose background is in neuroscience, and we direct a group of other cognitive development professionals that run our programs. Our neuroscience is informed in order for us to be successful with our services by our advisory group of Dr. Alex Grizel of Emory University down in Atlanta, Dr. Philippe Duyon of the Inley BrainFit Institute, and Ms. Victoria Frankel of Validity Science Communications. Now, let's go back to that living room where we were watching TV, except this time, you've been working with Think Up. So you get up, you walk into the kitchen, you know exactly what you came for, so you grab it, Opportunity Magazine. Then you walk into the living room, and that remote is exactly where it's supposed to be, exactly where you left it. Now, let's apply that to work. Not only is your attention to detail better, your memory more improved, right, and your efficiency improved, your value as a worker for your organization is improved. And when we apply that to the collective, we've improved profitability for your organization. I'm Doug Mapp, founder of Think Up.
Kind of a two-part question. So one, is the program like a one and done, or is it an ongoing program? And then the second question is, when you're talking to companies about this, how do you advise them, like what metrics are they looking for to see that the program has been successful?
Right, so we have a couple of ways to look at it. So to answer your first question, we find that about every 2 years, people need to be working on their cognitive skills. So that's number one. Number two, skills that people want to see happen more is people's ability to just do what they say they're going to do in a timely fashion. And so that's a primary metric. We do have metrics that can evaluate what particular brain skills are doing. So some of the basic brain skills are attention, working memory, your processing speed, which allows you to handle a higher level of capacity at work. But yeah, so those are the things that we try to improve on and show to organizations that we're improving their people.
So is your primary customer going to be the like end users, consumers who are trying to do this for themselves, or is it going to be these larger organizations that want to push this out throughout their organization?
Right, so larger organizations is our primary target because they're already spending a lot of money in trying to train people and give them the more knowledge when it comes to doing their job at a high level, tactics and things like that. But it's more about the application. Almost like if I want to run a marathon, we can study the film on marathons. I could buy new shoes to run the marathon, but unless I train to run for the marathon, I won't be successful in running for this marathon.
So if you could just briefly tell us the how. So once a company hires you, how do you what is the process to enhance the XQ, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the XQ, yeah, that's a great question. So we assess people's cognitive function skills. There's a theory on intelligence that helps us that's been developed to help us with that. And then after we assess them and know what their cognitive skills are doing, we then put them through a program that develops, or a program of metacognitive activities, which just means, activities meant to change how their brain's working, to strengthen their cognitive floors so that their strengths can now be used freely to execute like they would like to. It's almost like, a weight holding them back before, so you free that weight up so that they can continue to work at a high level.
Do you generally think it's more effective, or maybe you don't, but do you target, is it better for salespeople versus technical people or accounting people? Is there a part of the employee population that you find benefits more?
Yeah, so I believe that it's the people in operations or even like the experts or the organizations that improve more. Those efficiency numbers are about people who are supposed to get things out the door.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Everybody, give it up for Doug and Think Up. Good job, buddy. So, execution. All right. Carol, I'll start with you. Let's talk about where he's coming from and what value you may see in, say, a company that's going through a pivot, a change, or has experienced the last 2 years.
Yeah, I think the challenge for me, and maybe because I'm an accountant by training, I want to figure out how do I measure the ROI. And I would think if you're trying to sell this, especially to a larger organization, so the cost is going to be greater, number of people going through it, I would want to better understand kind of how do I determine that it was successful or not successful. That was kind of the question I was trying to get at.
Gotcha. And Tanika, what was the biggest either opportunity or challenge that you saw from Think Up?
Yeah, and piggyback on what Carol said, I think the metric seems a little subjective in terms of, how do I know my employees have gotten rid of the weight? And then probably the second one is the process of how do you take someone from A to B? Like, what does that look like? Is that weekly sessions, monthly sessions? Is it short term? What is the cost to the employer for that, to try to see that return on investment?
Well, and Jenna, as someone who's built a company around things you can't see, about identifying things that you can't see, what are some of the opportunities that he has to maybe identify some of those deliverables, right?
Yeah. So, my initial thought, and I, was going to mention while he was out here to him, is that he's got to find a place to prove this and a place where metrics are easy to come by so that he can go and then sell it to companies afterwards. So, I look at like education systems. So if you're looking at, high school seniors, people who are getting ready to go out into the job market, putting them through programs like this, being able to show great improvement, being able to show, the ability to pay attention. It's a place where there's a lot more metrics than you're going to see in an office. So finding somewhere like that where, metrics are clear and where he can show use cases and then go out and sell that to organizations may be a good idea or somewhere he could go with it.
All right, Jenna, Carol, Tanika, thank you again. And thanks again to Doug Mapp with Think Up. Everybody. Next up, we've got John Phillips and Primo.
Hey, everybody. I got a question for you. So don't worry, it's rhetorical. But so what does country music artist Sturgill Simpson have in common with celebrity chef Sean Brock? Well, they both had their architects redesign elements of their kitchen just to house my work. My name is John Phillips, as Chris said, and I'm the founder of Primo. And we make handcrafted cutlery and cookware just 3 blocks away right here in downtown Knoxville. Now, a lot of you already know me. In 2015, I formed Phillips Forge, where I started hammering out knives in my garage right over here in Lonsdale, one at a time. I started out with old scrap metal and started refining my skills, got a little better, started developing my own machinery, making my own metallurgy. And then in 2020, the University of Tennessee came to me, and they said, John, we like what you're doing, and we think that maybe you got something here. So they sent teams of industrial engineering students over to my shop. They sent teams of business school students, and for an entire year, we did standard operating procedures, time studies, economic evaluations, and at the end of it, they said, you got something. You need to figure out how to take this out of the garage. So just this year, I set up my new shop, and we launched my new brand, Primo. And here's our first 2 products that we just released just last month. And these knives are used by professional chefs and home cooks around the world. And in fact, I've sold over $500,000 of knives since I started. And every customer has one thing in common. They're all in the pursuit of excellence. Now, you might have seen my work another place called Blackberry Farm. I don't know if any of you have been there. This is my work on the cover of their catalog. And the people at Blackberry, they know a few things about fine living and about heirloom goods. And you might have seen me a few other places. I'm not trying to brag. But in 2019, I won History Channel's Forged in Fire. If you went to a basketball game last year, that was me on the Megatron hammering out a sword. You might have seen Tennessee Crossroads. And in fact, I've won international awards, lots of stuff. But I'll say that this is who I am, this is what I do, and I care very deeply about it. And you're probably thinking, all right, cool, John, you make knives. That's nice. I made dinner last night. My knives are fine. You might use a pan. It's fine. But when you buy a handmade product like what we make, you're not just buying a knife or a pan. You're making an investment in America. These are made right here in the Maker City, and every dollar you spend is staying here. We're making investments in the future because you know that you're going to hand these down to your kids and your grandkids. You know about the importance of the investment in quality because you know that it takes expert ingredients to be, the best ingredients to be expertly crafted. And you know about the investment in experiences because you want to create memories that last. And in fact, food culture today is bigger than ever, and it's represented by a $68 billion market as of last year. And there's no reason why Primo should not be amongst these, because these are tried and true manufacturing techniques and processes and businesses. And in fact, companies like Meeson and Maiden, they just raised $15 million to send a lot of work overseas. Now, I started Phillips Forge in my garage with less than $500 to my name. Like I said, I was hammering out scrap metal, trying to figure it out. And I got a little better and a little better every year. And we've hit a really cool point. We've developed our own machinery. We have our own proprietary techniques for developing these really cool knives. And we're now ready to hit scale production. So next year, we're going to be launching into 100 knives a week and launching our new cookware. And you can see things are pretty quickly going to take off. So now you're probably asking, how is this going to happen? Well, I have some really cool partners. First of all, Shopify. 2 million businesses, at least, sell through Shopify. And I've got some really great local distributors, plus people like John Bruck and the Spark Research Center, University, and some great vendors also that are committed to helping me along the way. Now, you're probably asking, what do we need? Well, I need some money, first of all. We need about $500,000 for raw goods and the labor to build inventory at scale, as well as money for advertising for national market penetration. And plus, I've got some really cool ideas for how you can design your own knife through a custom website, a bunch of other stuff. So anyway, if any of you can help me out, I've got 3 things to ask. 1, please come take a minute to talk with me after we're finished. 2, go to our website, pre-order now. And 3, please, please, please vote for us because we really need it. And we would love to be a part of Knoxville for a long time. Thank you.
So in your cookware line, how does it break down between like commercial usage versus consumer, and do you expect that to be any different for the cutlery?
To be honest, I don't know yet. We're just going to have to make the things and see. We have a higher price point, so in general, it's going to be at the nicer restaurants, the nicer homes.
Okay. So I saw pre-orders.
Mm-hmm.
How long is your wait list right now?
Well, currently I have 2 different portions. I have a custom wait list, which is about 3 years long, and then we have our production, which everything's shipping before the holidays.
Okay. And how do you, with that custom line, 3 years is a long time.
Mm-hmm.
How do you expand and how do you, grow at this rate you want to grow and still keep that specialized skill? Or do you plan to keep that as like a separate unit that typically has longer waits?
No, actually, we have a website that we want to build where basically you'll be able to pick your knife shape, you'll be able to pick your steel, you'll be able to pick the various components, and you can have a custom knife just designed right there, and then we'll get a printout of what needs to be happening on the other end. And then we have some special machinery that we've designed and built to help aid in all these processes.
Very cool.
So you answered it a little bit just a second ago, but who is your ideal client?
My ideal client is people who love to cook and who understand that when they buy our products, they're planning on keeping it forever. So, people who understand that they're spending their money for longevity and for things that they want to pass down and keep around for a long time.
So what is the average cost of a typical cutlery piece?
Well, our chef's knife's about $600.
Okay.
and they go up and down from there.
How much larger can you get at this current location? What scale?
At this current location, we should be able to hit about 5,000 pieces of cookware and about 20,000 knives in a year.
So what's the competitive advantage of the cookware? What kind of cookware are you making?
So we're making it's a carbon steel cookware. Basically, I've taken all the things I love about cast iron and changed it using some different materials. So we're going to be using a ductile carbon steel instead of cast iron. And there's currently no other rivetless carbon steel pans on the market. So we've been working with a company in Lenore City that has helped us develop a deep draw process for making a rivetless pan.
Okay, very cool.
So as the artist, do you have to be involved in every pitch, or are there limitations there as to, if it's a commercial product primarily, then someone's got to go represent the brand? Is it just you, or are there others?
Currently, I have a team of 5 people, and but of course, I'm the guy up front currently, but I'm looking to expand my team.
All right, thank you very much, John Phillips and Primo. All right, handcrafted consumer product, right? So Jenna, I want to start with you. What are some of the questions you have, opportunities and challenges?
Yeah. Well, first off, I'm trying to figure out how I get higher on the list. So it's not 3 years. But either way, I think there are challenges in, like you alluded to, being a business that is dependent on one person or dependent on a skilled craft, because you have to find labor that can also do that skilled craft as well as you can, so that you don't lose quality. So that's going to be a challenge. But, he's in a community of makers, like we talked about earlier. So, this is a community that thrives on creation and has a lot of skilled artisans in it. So I don't think there's a better place to be looking for that kind of talent.
Well, Carol, you've probably seen some companies that are, consumer-specific companies. What are some of the things he can look for from a consumer visibility point of view to make sure that he grows and scales?
Well, I think in this day and age, obviously digital marketing. So you've got to have a web presence. And I haven't been on their web. I've been on it briefly. I haven't been on it trying to buy something to see ease of use. But I think that will be very important. And I think the other thing that he will have to do is kind of build a culture of people that have the passion and the mission that he has, so that it doesn't all hinge on him having to be the message carrier.
And Tanika, what is an opportunity there? He talked about keeping the products, keeping the work here in the United States or in his neighborhood.
Yeah, that is tough. And as a maker myself, when you talk about scaling a handmade good, that can be hard because you really want to keep it handmade and local. But with a 3-year wait list, it would almost be, worth looking at in American small-scale manufacturing to kind of help with that. And even if he keeps some of the things super, homemade, but at this rate, he's really going to have to think about how he scales his business. And and so it might be looking at some other options there. That's what I would want to, have him think through, or some opportunities there is how do we get that 3-year wait list down?
All right. Thank you, judges, and thank you to John Phillips. And Primo, let's give one more hand. So now, another thing to remember here is Startup Day is actually just one part of a very busy Innovate 6.5 week. We're going to talk about a few things, but because we've got 5 tracks this year that showcase why, our Maker City, our Knoxville is a great place for entrepreneurs to start and grow businesses, or even just one business. Let's take a look.
I love that Knoxville sees small makers as entrepreneurs, and I think that's very different than any other city.
What I love about Knoxville is the size of the city. You can meet a lot of people, you can be part of the community.
Everything about Knoxville works for my company. Bottom line is we have gotten results here.
Innovate 65 is really shining a light on the people who are growing this community from the bottom up.
All right. Let's do one of those.
All right, Chris, well, Innovate 65 Week has turned into this giant infomercial, but wait, there's more.
But wait, it's like Entrepreneur Spirit Week.
It is. We have 23 events this year. You can log on to innovate65.com. They are all online. Everything is free, so make sure you check those out. Space is filling up fast. And Chris, we've got some exciting events tomorrow as well, right?
We've got exciting events tomorrow and Thursday. So tomorrow, Raising and Rising, we get to visit with 7 companies on their way up, including folks like Nell One. Bill Malkus is involved with that, and he won the Traction Award last year. So that's through the Knoxville Entrepreneur Center at the Techstars space. Tomorrow night, Let Her Speak hosts an Access to Capital Women's Happy Hour at Frog Juice over on Sutherland. It's delicious. And then Thursday, the Knoxville Entrepreneur Center is putting on Made for Knoxville Live, the most ambitious storytelling initiative ever done in Knoxville. You can go to the innovate65.com or check out knoxec.com to learn more about that. Fun fact.
Yes.
Fun fact.
Yes.
Courtney Jones is going to be telling us her story and sharing her big pivot moments that led her to where she is today. And our friend Paris Woodhull, who just opened an artist that just opened her shop on the 100 block of Gay Street and was featured in these videos, will also be telling her entrepreneurial pivot point journey.
Fantastic. All right, Chris, let's hear from our final 3 startups. Remember that QR code is in your program. You can vote for your favorite startup.
All right. Now, and remember, if you do like what you see, you like what you hear, you're going to have that QR code in your program to let us know. So we've got 3 to go. We've had 3 up, 3 down. Let's do it. I'm excited to welcome Famika Elliott with the Lotus program. Let's give it up.
Is there anyone more exhausted than a mother? Years ago, caring for a new baby also meant caring for the mother. It was a village effort. But where is that village now? Moms aren't getting the adequate support and nourishment that they need and deserve during the most critical experiences, stressful experiences of their lives for their mind, body, and soul. I am Famika Elliott, and I'm the creator of the Lotus program, and I am on a mission to nourish the nurturer. New moms are suffering postpartum depression at an alarming rate. Black women are 2 times more likely to suffer from postpartum depression compared to their white counterparts. Adequate nutrition reduces the risk of postpartum depression by 50%. The Lotus program is the missing link. The Lotus program provides a holistic support for new mothers that foster postpartum healing, positive mental health outcomes, and nourishment through food education and womb wellness. We offer 3 packages. Excuse me. Since 2019, I've successfully ran a food prep business, Meek Meals. I'm embedded within the Knoxville Black Doula Collective, and I have also lived this experience to be of service to these women, these new mothers, to be their support, their village. The holistic maternal health sector is rapidly growing. Midwife and doula services make up a $3.5 billion market. Meal kit delivery is expected to double over the next 7 years. The Lotus program is at the intersection of the 2, poised for growth. We offer 3 packages with our primary focus on the Regenerate package, which is meal delivery, providing a holistic digital access, library access, which includes lunch and dinner on a weekly delivery rotation. Intentionally designed for post-birth and wellness. We are forecasting this package to be our most anticipated and most popular package, generally with an upward trend of a 23% profit margin. Our go-to market strategy focuses on partnerships and collaborations. I'm embedded within the Knoxville birthing community. I'm a part of the Knoxville Black Doula Collective. I partner with lactation consultants, postpartum pelvic specialists, yoga practitioners, and I'm also partnered with medical providers with similar aligned visions and values. Our marketing strategy also leverages social media content with our content library and influencer partnerships. Our competitors unfortunately lack a holistic approach. Meal kit delivery eventually fades. Easy and convenient typically means inflammatory and insufficient ingredients, which perpetuates postpartum depression. None of these current options are sufficient enough to sustain a mother recovering from post-birth required for womb wellness. The Lotus program is the only option on the market with an individualized approach. Our diverse team continues to elevate the Lotus program experience while restoring power to the mother, to the woman. The Lotus program is focused on meeting market demand for the Regenerate package and forecast profitability by month 6. By month 12, we plan to scale and expand our team and vision. By year 2, we will launch our Rebirth Experience package. Year 3, we are projected to expand in mid-sized comparable markets. On average, there are 5,000 births in Knox County per year. The Lotus program is a vital component to a new mother's birthing experience. This model can be replicated. To maximize our impact, we are seeking additional capital to invest in our filming, marketing, a Sprinter van, 2 full-time chefs, and our digital assets. This $10,000 seed capital will allow us to advance our digital assets and protections and elevate the customer experience. So, to the community, this is your chance to invest in a startup by voting for the Lotus program with the Choice Award, and also to the judges, this is your chance to invest in a startup, a non-conventional startup at that is continuing to impact the Knoxville birthing community. Again, my name is Famika Elliott. I'm the owner and operator of the Lotus Program Experience. Thank you.
Oh, okay, I'll go first. I think this is really cool. It's really interesting what you're doing. One of the questions I have is, how are you selling or targeting to sell the product? Is it, typically the mother that's paying for it? Are you getting sponsorship for these programs for women? Kind of how are you planning on getting, who's the buyer at the end of the day?
So this product is to not only sustain the mother, but to sustain the family dynamic as well. What the Lotus program provides within our experience alone eventually affects the family dynamic through the educational aspect. So with that being said, we did win What's the Big Idea, so we have funding there. And then we also plan on launching scholarship funding as well by securing other grants. So we have influencer partnerships, and then we also have just recently launched a like a ebook for postpartum healing and womb healing to support their journey, something very light, touch and go for the mothers that aren't able to secure the full experience.
Yeah, that's very cool. The first thing that came to my mind thinking about this was, a program like, shoes buy one get one, like where one gets donated when someone pays for a mother, or family is like sponsoring a mother.
Yeah, and
so there's a lot of ways you could go about that.
Yes, and Mamas Helping Mamas, we eventually hope to partner with them. We have had meetings to where they would be able to sponsor a mother, but it is an accessible price point with all three. And like I said, we do have payment options to make it accessible for any Knoxville mother.
Very cool.
So that was part of my question, is your intent to make this only a Knoxville program? Because I would imagine it's a little bit hard to scale into other cities, but how will mothers find you? Like, how will they know about this program? Is this going to be marketed through the birthing centers?
So we're partnered with lactation consultants, pelvic floor specialists, anybody that is in the birthing community. I normally get direct referrals from them, especially the doulas in the midwife sector, that area. Most of my referrals come from. And then I also show my face and attend these specialized events wherever kids or mothers are.
And did I see on your slide the price point for the rebirth or regeneration package was $300 a week?
Yes, roughly
That's
$300 a
food
week.
and some digital support. Okay.
Yes, so we're working on a digital content library, and then I also added in the postpartum food guide. So the mother will have access to that, myself, and then her cohort. So any other mothers that are in her cohort, she has access as well.
Real quick, is there a subscription or is it month to month or week to week?
So it's a 3-month time commitment. Yes, and so weekly rotation, lunch and dinner for the Regenerate package with some herbal support, and then the free content library.
Okay, real quick, Famika. So you said the $10,000 app delivery, digital assets, and Sprinter van. I was just wondering, do you have funding or thought about your growth? I mean, it seems like, you're a team of one right now, and how are you thinking of scaling and adding more people to the team?
Yes, so I desire to hire food enthusiasts that are excited about the work and the intention that align with the Lotus program. So I'm going to be very strategic with hiring chefs. You do not have to have a culinary degree if anybody is interested once we have applications available, but I want somebody that is excited about what we do, our mission, our vision, and that's just more aligned. But we do know that one chef Monday through Friday can serve 8 mothers a day. So roughly myself, starting with myself, I know that I have the capacity to service 40 mothers per week.
Thank you very much, Famika Elliott and the Lotus program. Everybody, give it up for her. Addressing something that is dearly needed. Tanika, I want you to start. What are your thoughts? What are the opportunities here? What are the challenges?
Absolutely. I think, it seems like she's well-connected in communities, but it does seem like a challenge might be scaling, kind of going back to what Carol was saying. Okay, if this takes off in Knoxville, how do you scale that to other communities and other cities that may be in need of this? So I think a challenge might be scaling, and how quickly can you do that with limited funding?
Carol?
Yeah, love or passion. My concern would be the price point. That $300 a week, and granted, she's given more than just food, but if you think about other services like a HelloFresh or something like that, it just seems like it might be out of the reach of some of the people who need it the most. That would be my concern. If there's not, I think you were the one that asked about, is there other funding available? And maybe that can be accomplished through some sort of a scholarship program, but I would be concerned that the people that need it the most won't be able to afford it.
So scale, helping the most people, price point. Jenna, what were some of your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think a big opportunity for her is, she is already connected in the community with a lot of the people she needs to be, maybe combining what she's doing and the services she offers with other services as well. Doulas can provide services for longer periods of time, connecting these things even larger than she's already connecting them to where it seems like a full holistic program. I also think there's a lot of opportunity in, appealing to families that want to, buy baby gifts and don't know what to get. Things where people can sponsor it for new mothers. So I think there's a lot of opportunity, but there's always challenges, right? Yeah.
Well, thank you very much to our judges, and thank you again to Famika Elliott and the Lotus program. Next up, I'm excited to bring Alex Weber and D3D.
Hello, everyone. I'm Alex Weber, founder and president of D3D LLC, and we are an extended reality solutions company. So who the heck are we? Well, I mentioned myself. I served in the U.S. Navy as a Navy diver for almost 10 years. I have a background in electrical engineering and product development, and I'm currently pursuing my master's in business administration at the University of Tennessee. The second founder joined our team, and he'll be heading our chief of technology, and he'll be leading our XR development teams. He has a background in electrical engineering and computer science. Our third founder joins the team as chief of design. She has a background in neuroscience and 3D design, and she'll be leading our 2D and 3D development teams. So what is the problem exactly that we're trying to solve? Well, the extended reality industry is so new that there's a lot of issues, but we're really honing in on one, and that's lack of content. Flash back to 2008 when the smartphones first came out. Businesses were using the BlackBerry device. Why would they switch to the smartphone when the BlackBerry already does it all, and there's no apps on the smartphone that are geared towards business operations? Come back to today, and the XR industry is very similar, almost identical. There's a lot of great use cases, but there's just not enough content to attract businesses to switch to this platform. Starting back in 1980s when virtual reality first came around and slowly progressed to augmented reality. And now we're in this new term, extended reality, where you have both a virtual and a real component in your software. Businesses are still very hesitant to adopt this technology. So that's where D3D comes in. We offer technical consultation and software development services, and we're focused on developing platform-level technologies in areas like safety, training, and human resources. This industry is very new. As you can see from this graph, the extended reality industry has really only boomed in the last couple years, and it's projected to keep growing year over year as this industry evolves and the technology changes. Our marketing strategy is simple. We're going to focus on one area, and that's the occupational health and workplace safety training. And we're going to reach businesses by doing trade shows, conventions, word of mouth and subject matter expert campaigns, and drive traffic to our website organically through search engine optimization and pay-per-clicks. And this pyramid shape really represents the level of effort that we're going to put into each of these marketing channels. The competition is steep. There's businesses that operate on both sides of our services. On the software development side, you have companies like TopTool and Accenture, with engineers around the world dedicated to providing IT software solutions. And yet, they only have a small team that's focused on the extended reality industry. On the consulting side, it's no different. You have companies like Red Hat and Deloitte that are doing all things under the sun, and yet only have a small team that's focused on the extended reality industry. That's what sets D3D apart. We're 100% focused on the extended reality industry. And we have over 10 years of experience in this industry spread amongst our founders. We have rapid production cycles because we use an agile framework and proprietary software to develop our applications and platforms. And that translates into low development costs, not just for us, but for our clients as well. Here's an example of what it is that I'm talking about by extended reality. This is CST XR, an application that we developed over the summer for one of our partners. It's a construction safety training simulation designed to run on the Oculus Quest 2. Users of any level, from executive to the lowest employee, can use this application to learn how to don their personal protective equipment, identify key safety violations and safety training scenarios, as well as even operate heavy machinery before they arrive on the job site. And the beauty is this is all cloud-based training, so you don't have to shut your business down for a day and gather all of your employees in the same room. It can be done from anywhere. So what am I looking for today? Well, I would love to be the pitch competition winner and the crowd favorite, but that's really up to you amazing people in the audience. What I would settle for is just a few of you walking away with a little bit more knowledge about the extended reality industry and how fast and exciting it's growing. And of course, to promote my company, D3D. Again, my name is Alex Weber with D3D. Please visit our website for more information or to learn more about how this industry is constantly evolving. Thank you for your time.
So is the main end product a training module? And if so, what industries have you developed it for, and how long does it take to do it for a new industry? So if it's a company you've never worked with, what's the time cycle to develop a new application? Or
Fantastic question. So it's not just geared towards training. There's a lot of use cases for extended reality. We're focused in on the training and simulation because it's a $7 billion industry just in 2020 in the US alone. So it's a really fantastic opportunity to help scale our company. And in terms of development times, it varies based on complexity. The construction services app was built across 4 weeks. So it can be a really rapid development time or a few months, depending on the complexity and nature of the simulation that you're looking for. And any company is eligible for this technology.
So once you develop these apps, do you retain the rights to them, or are you developing them and then handing them over to the company you developed them for?
So we do. We retain intellectual property because we're looking at building scalable applications and platform solutions. Let's take the construction services, for example. We can then go to any other construction company that's looking for innovative safety training and apply this platform to their business. And you can really apply this in any industry as well.
So my question is, how does the client find you? And then when they find you, what is the average cost to the client?
Fantastic question. So right now, it's very much a word of mouth because we're growing and we're scaling with the industry, and the technology is really changing so much that we're relying a little bit on our website and word of mouth. We're strategically picking our partners and in areas where the software can scale with the industry. And in terms of cost, I'll revert to my first answer. It does vary based on complexity. On average, you're looking at a minimum of $10,000 to get into a basic level simulation, and that can scale up to complexity of something with machine learning and artificial intelligence embedded inside of it, somewhere around $100,000, depending again on the complexity.
So what is it replacing? Is it replacing employee costs or external training? Like, how are these companies doing this service? How are they providing this service before they hired you?
So a lot of the time, it's in-person training. That $7 billion industry in the workplace and safety training is about 80% in-person and about 20% cloud-based. Cloud-based is fast growing, and that's one reason we're investing so heavily into this space, because the extended reality technology is a perfect medium to apply the cloud-based training, because you can do it from anywhere, and any level of employee can actually put themselves in this really immersive situation, and you don't have that emergency or near-death experience or near-injury experience to worry about. So it's really amazing what you can put yourself into a situation and learn critically from it.
Thank you very much, Alex Weber and D3D. In an increasingly digitized world, right, like where we're operating globally, what kind of things do you see here? I'll start with you, Carol.
Well, I do think, it's really interesting concept, and you're right, things are increasingly moving towards, it seems, virtual settings. I wonder how quickly the business world will adapt to virtual reality applications. Maybe they will, because I would imagine this is mostly going to be applicable to like manufacturing and construction, and I don't know if they'll embrace that kind of cutting edge technology that quickly. Maybe they will.
Well, Jenna, talking about scalability and access to industries here, what do you think are some of the biggest potential roadblocks and or potential roads that he's got ahead of him?
Yeah, so building a services business is tough, right? You're limited by the amount of developers you have, the amount of people you have. So, constantly trying to develop new apps is going to be something they want to make sure they don't get in a rut with. I think what's going to be key for them is finding those apps that people really attach to, that people really learn from, and figuring out how to deploy those industry-wide. So making that transition from feeling like they're just developing for someone to, we have this product that we're going to go out and market and sell because we've already developed it.
So the product itself is scalable. Tanika, what were some of your takeaways?
Yeah, I think we are in a space where it's heavily digital, but I think one of the challenges he may run against is because we do live in such a digital world. There's YouTube, there's Vimeo, so I can create a training video one time, pay a person one time, and then I have that YouTube video for forever. So it's really selling why a consumer would need this app and invest $10,000 to $15,000 versus a YouTube or a Vimeo safety video that's going to have the same information.
Gotcha. All right, judges, thank you very much. And thanks again to Alex Weber and D3D. Let's give it up. All right. Our sixth presenter, Ryan Ginder with Windfall. Here we go.
Hello, I'm Dr. Ryan Ginder, founder and CEO of Windfall, the world leader in composites upcycling. And when I say world leader, I mean nobody can do what we do with end-of-life composites. Taking scrap from companies like Berkshire Hathaway Energy and Volkswagen and processing them at our Department of Energy-backed pilot facility to turn into award-nominated materials for new U.S. manufacturing. So how many of you here are familiar with wind energy? It's clean, it's the largest source of renewable energy in the country, but it's got a problem. How many of you have asked yourselves, all right, great, what do we do with these things when we're done with them? Well, the metal parts, like the tower, you can recycle those, but what about those big old reinforced plastic blades? Well, those end up in the landfill. That's right, we throw away tens of thousands of metric tons of wind blade waste each year. And of course, aside from not being great from an ecological perspective, this is particularly damaging to wind's social acceptance and the regulatory environment around both current and future projects. But wind's problem isn't just wind's problem. How many of you here drive a car? Well, 12 to 15% of that car is, again, plastics composites. And so, considering there are a lot more cars than wind blades out there, the composites waste problem is actually much larger than wind. But there's another problem that gets a little less attention than the waste aspect, and that's supply. That is, if you look at the availability of fiberglass needed to make these materials, you'll see our global production capacity usage keeps going up and up to the point we've reached 95% of our ability to make fiberglass globally. That is, if we want to keep making these products, we need to find a more sustainable, available source for glass. So, the solution, a circular economy. Solve both at once. We have all this waste, why not reprocess it into raw materials so that we can go ahead and start making those exact same products, thereby eliminating a lot of the plastic waste that goes to landfill, and also have a reliable domestic supply chain for manufacturing. So, the Windfall solution. Basically, we have our patent-pending process where we take that end-of-life material, put it through a pyrolysis-based process, and turn it back into raw materials, with the polymer component being turned into oil and gas so it can go back to that industry, and then we get the nice white fluffy fiberglass reinforcement back that we can use to make new composites. So we can sell that staple fiber as is, or we can further process it ourselves into other intermediates, for example, non-woven fabrics, which we can use in new turbine blade production, marine, automotive, various applications. Or we can compound it with plastics to make pellets for injection molding, or further process for additive manufacturing to make 3D printing filament, for example, such that now, instead of going to the dump, a decommissioned wind blade can become just about anything in its next life. So Windfall is now working on building out our business model as both that trash-to-cash solutions provider for our waste generators and processing that material so we can sell it right back to those same industries to make their next-gen products as a material supplier. And so doing position ourselves as not simply the Coca-Cola, but the soda itself in the recycling space for composites. So where we are right now is we just completed our pilot work with DOE, building out the main plant, demonstrating different products. And so we're working into our seed raise round, where we're seeking $5 million in order to continue both product development with several of our corporate customers, as well as continue engineering work to move into construction of the full-scale commercial plant in our Series A, with a final target recycling capacity of about 200 metric tons per day. So during the seed round investment, our focus is on building the non-wovens with a particular emphasis on new turbine blade construction, supplying those to the main OEMs in the space, but also continuing to work on those thermoplastic products, both for injection molding pellets and additive manufacturing, and then of course, the front-end engineering work needed to be able to build that full-scale plant. So I'll round it out with a quick shout out to the rest of the core team. Bowie, David, and Eva, who I suspect are in the back feverishly voting for Windfall. And again, thank you very much for your time as Windfall continues to work to upcycle today's waste to build tomorrow's future. And so I ask for your vote and support. Thank you.
have a question about how you get the material and how you get the waste. Do you partner with these companies that are taking, the wind turbines down? Do you partner with consumers? How do you get the product in the door?
Excellent question. So in the wind space case, there was already a supply chain that put those turbines out in the middle of nowhere in the first place. So we work with those same companies to run that process essentially in reverse. So instead of going to the factory, it comes to us. We have some advantages on the logistics side. We don't have to ship the thing as a whole blade. We can cut it up, better pack out trucks and rail cars, so it becomes a lot more efficient and cost effective.
And then for cars and some of these other markets, wind is obviously your first market. You guys have worked that out. How do you expand into those markets and get the buy-in from them?
So we're already working with several of the different automotive OEMs. They have existing infrastructures for their waste disposal, so it's more routing that material now to us on the production scrap side. On the end-of-life side, that's a little more tricky, so we're working with them on different routes of basically disassembly. So it would be on them to basically round up the waste as it goes through the traditional disposal route, and then they would provide it to us, and we would finish disassembly and recycle it.
So you mentioned a DOE pilot that just wrapped up. Is there going to be any kind of follow-on with the Department of Energy?
Yes, so we are working with them right now on a next round of funding for some additional utilization of the recycled fiber for the wind industry.
And I guess in follow-up to how you find your sources, how will you find your buyers? Like, how do you find the people that will buy the composite?
Great question. So we have the fortunate answer that most of the people who have the waste are also buying it in the first place. Some of the companies, though, like the wind farm owner-operators, they aren't necessarily the one who immediately buys the fiber, but they are at the end of the food chain. So they go to their suppliers and say, talk to them because I want to buy it back to have that closed loop. So they route those tier 1, tier 2, if you will, to us.
So you give the automotive company a discount because you're selling them back their same plastic that they gave
No, I
you?
charge more. You want the...
That's a business model I can get behind.
That way they can say it's recycled, right?
Exactly. It's their same material.
So who are some of your, so it seems like you are really plugged in right now with getting the waste materials. Who are some of your clients where you are selling materials?
Great question. So it depends on the outflow materials. I talked about there's a lot of different stuff from the raw glass to the nonwovens and thermoplastics. So on the raw glass side, it's a lot of the glass fiber manufacturers themselves because they want to use it in different building materials, or the plastics industry because they want a compound. So from our perspective, it's more, we're not going to make all the pellets to make the Ford F-150 bumper, but we can do smaller, more niche orders. As an example, I'll give a quick shout out to the Green Llama cleaning folks out in the audience. So it's another company out of Johnson City that we are actually developing some injection molded parts for one of their products. So again, it just will depend on which stream that's going to.
All right. Thank you very much. Windfall, everybody. We'll see Green Llama tomorrow at Raising and Rising. So, Tanika, I wanted to ask you first because you very first mentioned your focus on sustainability. Tell me, what was your key takeaway here, and what do you think he's got? What do you think Windfall has ahead?
Yeah, I think ahead it's just really tapping into his ideal client, to his market. It seems like there are a lot of possibilities. Obviously, when you're dealing with sustainable products, a lot of people are there right now, environmental friendly, but just really tapping into who his ideal market is, who's his ideal client.
Well, and that ideal client, talking about the sort of full circle of economy, Carol, what opportunities do you see there?
Well, I think certainly tapping into the renewable, recycle. No one wants to see all this stuff in the waste, going into the landfills. So I think that's a good position. What we didn't explore with him that I wish we had is scalability. Like how much larger can he get in his current capacity, and we didn't think to ask him that.
Well, as someone who's dealt with scalability and capacity in your own business, what are some steps that you would love to see him take to be able to take the right path?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be just being able to grow and grow, the right way. So making sure that he's putting everything in place as he grows to where he can become a supplier that people see in this market as not just sustainable, but as reliable. People are really willing to pay more for product right now if it's reliable and it's a reliable source of product that they can continue to get it from, because there's so many supply chain issues. So I think it is, growing the right way, but not growing too fast to where he's getting in a situation where he isn't, reliably supplying.
Understand. Judges, thank you very much. Jenna, Carol, and Tanika, let's give them a hand. We're gonna head this way. You guys have a job to do. So thank you very much. And thank you to everyone. You can hit that QR code in your program to vote now. All right? And just a quick, we had Eonics. We had Think Up. We had the Lotus program. We had Primo, D3D, and Windfall. Who was your favorite and who deserves that $7,000? I also want to remind everybody, all of the events that are coming up, we talked about Raising and Rising. Also, CGI, one of our wonderful partners, is debuting a technology 1:30 tomorrow, right after, that's just mind-blowing. Innovation Crossroads, I had a clap, there we go. But it's awesome. Innovation Crossroads, Thursday afternoon, right before Made for Knoxville Live. So let's get to it. Let's vote, everybody. Thank you again to all of our companies.
Thank you, Chris. Did you remind everybody to vote?
Wait a second. Did everybody vote yet? Raise your hand if you've already put yours in.
Okay, fantastic. You still have a couple of minutes, so scan that QR code and vote for your favorite startup. As the judges deliberate, we are going to find out who the Innovate 6.5 Alliance selected for this year's Traction Award. Keep your eyes on the big screen.
I've seen the value and the benefit of strong rural communities. That's a fantastic place to raise a family and enjoy a high quality of life. That way of life won't be preserved unless we actively develop economic opportunities that allow those rural communities to thrive.
Genera is a sustainable fiber products manufacturing company based here in Von Orr, Tennessee in Monroe County. Started out our life in the biofuels and bioproducts world, and really have now grown to have a fully integrated manufacturing capacity here in-house.
We work with local farmers to produce the highest value economic opportunity for land that otherwise doesn't have a lot of economic value. And then we turn that into something that consumers can actually use in a sustainable way.
We provide sustainable fiber solutions. And really our primary focus today is plastic replacement in single-use items.
The market demand for the products we're making is virtually insatiable. One of the big drivers is that almost all of these products that are available today are imported. We can produce them in a very sustainable manner with a very transparent supply chain and cost competitively. So that has unlocked huge market opportunities for us. If we had 5 of these plants operating today, we would be fully sold out for multiple years. We're really excited about our partners and their recent $200 million commitment to the growth of Genera. It's a game changer for us in terms of our growth over the next several years.
The acquisition of MXG simply brought some additional expertise and IP to the table to combine with our portfolio to make us that much stronger. Well, we're certainly very proud to be recognized by the entrepreneurial community and Innovate 6.5 here in East Tennessee. You know, I think those types of recognitions by our local peers are more important than anything to us.
Genera has demonstrated how to handle large amounts of biomass like no other company and to turn that into a value-add product. And I just want to say congratulations to Kelly and the Genera team. Thanks for representing East Tennessee and the University of Tennessee so well.
All right. right, great. Now I would like to welcome to the stage Carol Johnston with Verizon. She will present Genera with the Innovate 6.5 Alliance's 2022 Traction Award. Carol, come on up. Let's give Carol a round of applause.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is such an honor to be here. I was blessed to be invited last year to present this award, and it's such a great opportunity to see what our community is doing. I was a resident of Knoxville for over 30 years. I'm just so proud to see so many entrepreneurs. That was an incredible video, and it really presents the passion and commitment of Genera's leadership and a significant impact to our community. As we've mentioned before, Verizon is a proud partner with Innovate 865, especially on Startup Day. We thank you for celebrating entrepreneurs who bring growth and innovation to our community. As part of the Citizen Verizon, our company's responsible business plan for economic, environmental, and social advancement, Verizon strives not to only be sustainable as a company, but also seek to have a positive impact on our planet and in our community. This includes investing in renewable energy, improving energy efficiency of our networks, and providing products and services that are safe, sustainable, and improve our customers' lives. It is great to hear about Genera's strategy and their achievements in actively pursuing economic opportunity to develop sustainable and economic biomass solutions. We know there must have been many ups and downs and turns in the road, but Genera persevered and continued to find innovative ways to succeed. On behalf of Verizon, we are happy to be here today and present this well-deserved Innovate 865 Traction Award to Dr. Kelly Tiller, President and CEO of Genera. Thank you, Dr. Tiller, for your leadership and inspiration.
We're going to pause for a quick photo op here. Let's give them another round of applause. Genera, the Innovate 6.5 Alliance Traction Award winner, presented by Verizon. Ladies, thank you so much. All right, next up, I want to introduce Lindsay Cox. She is the new CEO of Launch Tennessee. Lindsay, come on out. Lindsay's backstage. Lindsay is coming backstage, and she'll be back up here in a second. Lindsay leads the helm of a very important organization in the state of Tennessee. We are proud to have Launch Tennessee represented in the Innovate 6.5 Alliance as a founding member. Lindsay, welcome to Startup Day, and the stage is yours.
Thanks, Courtney. Well, y'all, I'm thrilled to be joining you guys today. And I just started my tenure at Launch Tennessee in July, but I'm happy to say this is my, I believe, fourth visit to Knoxville. And each and every time it gets better and better, and I'm thrilled to be here for Startup Day today. And so would love to welcome now our panelists for the fireside chat. If y'all can join me on stage, Corey Tyree with Trillium. Anna Douglas with Sky Nano. And Abhi Sastry with Fluix. Y'all gotta bear with me. I have my tall shoes on today, so I'm moving very slow. Well, thank y'all for joining us for this fireside chat today. So we just got to hear some amazing pitches from some amazing companies, but I would love to hear y'all's elevator pitches. So if you could go through real quick and tell us about you and your company.
Yeah, sure thing. So my name is Abhi Sastry. I'm the CEO and founder of Fluix. And what we do here at Fluix is we're developing the future of the data center cooling here on Earth and in space. It's funny enough you asked because we changed it recently, and that's how it goes when you're an entrepreneur. So, yeah.
Hey, Courtney.
and everyone, and Lindsay. I'm Anna Douglas, co-founder and CEO of Sky Nano, and we do electrochemical capture and conversion of CO2 pollution into carbon-based materials.
Yeah, so Corey Tyree, founder and CEO of Trillium Renewable Chemicals. I moved to Knoxville in August 2021, and where Trillium was founded. We're off to a great start, 18 months old, $18 million raised. We make 2 chemicals. One is used to manufacture the COVID vaccine, and another one used to manufacture Legos. So we have a really interesting product, and I'd love to tell you more about it.
Awesome, and you will get a chance to do so. So my favorite part of my job at Launch Tennessee is getting to tell people why Tennessee. So I want y'all to get to tell people why Knoxville. Why did you guys choose to start and grow your businesses here?
You want me to go? Oh, I'll go first. Yeah, sure. So I'm from the Swamp, Orlando and Tampa, Florida. And yeah, at the time, you know, when Fluix was very early, and we're still extremely early as well, it was very difficult getting some of the first investors. You know, we would be in due diligence here, we'd be in due diligence there. We'd have some customers, and everyone would say, hey, we're waiting for that one big customer. So we'd be like, all right, got the big customer. We call them up. Be like, hey, we got a customer. They're like, yeah, but we'll wait for another customer. So as soon as Techstars rolled around, you know, I had applied for 3 different Techstars programs. And finally, you know, we get it to the top 20 of the program. We get into like the top 40 and the 20, and we never make it. We never make it into a Techstars program. No wonder. I would apply for programs, and it wouldn't make sense with the partners. But as soon as I heard that Tricia Martinez and Oak Ridge National Laboratory, UTK, University of Tennessee, Knoxville, and then TVA came around, I applied. And they were actually one of the first ones to give me a chance. The funny story is, once that all came about and we were able to join Techstars Industries of the Future, I still get these calls from my friends over in Florida, some investors I've made friends with. They'd be like, Abby, it's so sad that you had to go to Tennessee to raise your money. We would have funded you over here in Orlando. I'm like, where the hell were you guys when I was eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches all day, right? So it's just a funny story. I'd like to share that.
So Sky Nano is really a Tennessee homegrown company. So the technology was really born out of research at Vanderbilt University. We were incubated at Oak Ridge National Lab, accelerated at the University of Tennessee at the Cherokee Farms Research Park, and now we're growing here in Knoxville. In Tennessee, and Knoxville in particular, is just a really natural fit for us. You know, we're making advanced carbon nanomaterials, and we have right in our backyard, you know, the largest science and energy national laboratory. We have some of the best talent coming out of the University of Tennessee. And we have now a really robust local ecosystem that supports hardware, you know, science-based entrepreneurship. And so Knoxville is a no-brainer for us.
Okay, well, hard to top that, but I'll tell you why Trillium's in Knoxville. I wanted to be here. My family wanted to be here. It's that simple. So some of you may think you have met me. That's actually my twin brother who lives in Knoxville. I've not been here very long, and we are here for family reasons. First time in my 20-year career, we could make a decision based on where we wanted to be, and we took it. So we are super happy to be here, and I'll tell you what, you can build an industrial company in most cities in America. If you look at where the money comes from, these are globally financed companies. Trillium's the same thing. We have money from South Korea, Germany, Belgium, and the US. And so it's truly a global endeavor, and it looks a lot like our peer group. And so you can do that right here in Knoxville.
That's great. And Knoxville is very lucky to have y'all, and I'm sure y'all feel very lucky to have Knoxville as well. So looking back, you guys are all at very different stages in your business, but thinking back to when you were at idea stage, first thinking about what your company would look like, what were some of the things that you needed then that maybe you struggled to find, or that you would like to let folks in the audience know so they can contribute to those idea stage companies?
Yeah, some of the first things that, you know, I went to school for engineering. I didn't really go to class. I was mostly selling for other companies and startups, but one of the first things when we came up with the idea for the product that we wanted to sell, we've pivoted so much as a hard tech and deep tech company, but it was, you know, we'd sit there and in engineering school, you learn about CAD, CAM, and you design a product digitally, but you don't really think that product can come to full fruition. I'm sure you guys dealt with that. And when you speak with a machinist and he's like, you know, you're disobeying the laws of physics if we actually make this, right? And it's not possible. So access to manufacturing, manufacturing that doesn't cost $6,000 when we can't even pay rent, you know, that's difficult, but that's the earliest part of it. And, you know, one of the things, you know, we manufacture all of our parts here in Knoxville, right down here near Lenore City. And just this morning, I was with my machinists talking about, you know, hey, how are we going to change this? How are we going to change that? And them giving us feedback. So manufacturing was definitely something big for us.
Yeah, I would say for us, I can think of two things that, you know, were really helpful early on and I think would be helpful for other companies as well. One is just cheerleaders. You know, you don't have to have a technical knowledge base in someone's field to support them and to cheer them on. You know, you don't have to have a big bank account to write a big check to just be there for someone to say, hey, I think this is really cool. I don't know how I can help, but, you know, could use an extra set of hands. You know, I remember coming to Launch Tennessee really early on in the formation of Sky Nano and finding a lot of cheerleaders, and I think that was really impactful. And then the other thing is, you know, for a lot of the companies, you know, some of which pitched here today, you know, they're talking about really, really big market sizes, and maybe they've even raised a lot of money, you know, millions of dollars. But don't discount those $5,000 to $10,000 checks. You know, those can really go very far in the early stages of a company. And so, you know, supporting events like this, where there are cash prizes, you know, that can be used for supporting early stage prototyping, for supporting marketing, even just for paying rent in a lab space, you know, those kinds of things are really, really helpful.
Yeah, so those are great answers. Let me try to add something on top of that. I would say that, you know, surprise, surprise, the engineer underestimated the value of marketing. We had a huge break from a press release. Look, we were a company of 3 people with limited marketing capabilities, but our partners are global chemical companies and a very powerful brand. And when that press release hit in January and showed up in the Brussels equivalent of Bloomberg and the Paris Financial Times, that changed Trillium's fortunes. I was giving the same speech, the same stuff I'm telling you right now in December. It landed completely different in January, all because of that press release. Creating momentum and leveraging other people is huge. And second thing, timing. Timing matters. When I talked about Trillium and what we did in 2016, I'll never forget somebody said, Corey, if it's not 70 cents a pound, I don't care. This has changed. You can talk about this. You will get a premium in the market. People do care about it. And so I think timing really matters. There's no way for the company to change that, but it matters.
So, you know, all entrepreneurs have help along the way, and I've already heard a couple programs or organizations shouted out, but would love to give y'all an opportunity to give a shout out to, you know, program, individual, mentor, someone that has helped you out along the way.
For me, it really has to be Techstars. I mean, the reason I can even have a chance to speak with you, and I'd love to engage with all you guys, and I'd love to engage with all the entrepreneurs that were up on stage. That's freaking awesome. But it is Techstars, obviously Oak Ridge, obviously UTK and TVA. The mentors throughout the program that I was here, some of the mentors are here in the audience today, and I'm having lunch with them. We're going through asking questions about, you know, the ins and outs of business. And you know, when I came here, the program at Techstars was great, but where I really met and built relationships that will last is those weekends when programming wasn't there. And I could go to events. So I'm just really happy to be here. But those are the organizations I would shout out.
Tom Rogers, very specifically, I would like to call out. Sky Nano wouldn't be who we are today without the support of Tom and really taking an early chance on Sky Nano and bringing us to Knoxville for the Innovation Crossroads program. Dan Miller is also in the audience. Just huge thanks to the Innovation Crossroads program. You know, that was an incredible amount of support. not just financially, but also just in building a community here that has continued to support Sky Nano. Also the UT Research Park, the Spark Incubation Center is really a gem of Knoxville that not a lot of cities have, and has been really, really helpful for us being able to kind of find our footing and actually find some time to grow here, and really provide a gap between that really early stage business incubation and setting up our own lab here and growing here in Knoxville.
Yeah, so I'm the new guy in town. I would just say that Knoxville feels incredibly warm and welcoming to me. We've had help from Jim Biggs at KEC. He's introduced me to a number of people. Look, I don't want to do this in isolation in my house, right? I want to be connected in the community. It creates much more satisfaction day to day, and Jim's connected me with some people here. Doug at the Chamber of Commerce, Eric Dobson, thank you for introducing me and welcoming. And I would just say that also for the people that believed in Trillium when they really shouldn't have. Years ago when it was just an idea, now it's easier, right? The money's in, we got big name clients, but then thank you so much for that.
Well, we are at time, but I'm going to do moderator preference and get to ask a final question. So y'all are all entrepreneurs. You are all actively growing and scaling your businesses. You may be, kind of miles away from where you started, but I'm sure there is still help that you could use today. So last thing, you've got a captive audience of folks. What could you use help with today?
100%. Here at Fluix, we're really pushing innovation. Before we were pushing innovation when it came to mechanical engineering side, but we're really trying to push forth on new product development in the material science side. If there's any material science subject matter experts, I'd love to speak with you. And anyone here that business development is something that we always look to, as owners. So anyone that's in those two realms, love to speak with you guys. And also, if you guys want to learn more about what we do at Fluix, you can go to fluixpro.com, FLUIXPRO.com, and you can learn more about what we do over there.
Sky Nano's hiring. So we've received some recent funding for projects, and we are hiring electrical talent, so either electrical engineers or electrical technicians, and also just general lab tech, so no technical experience or degree needed, but just someone who's really excited about the mission of turning pollution into valuable products. If you are interested, please shoot me a note, either over our website, or feel free to reach me, just pull me aside after this.
Yeah, I would say we're hiring too in the fourth quarter of 2022, so let me know if you're interested. It'll be an engineering job. And the second thing I always say that our website just says Trillium full-time employees, but we have so many third-party service providers. I look at our lawyer as a part of the team. This guy has saved us from so many mistakes. Thank God we have him. But accountants, marketing, as we grow, we have to grow all those capabilities. We're so young, we have almost none of that. So if those are services you provide, love to talk.
Great. Awesome. Thank y'all for joining.
Thank you, Lindsay, Abdi, Anna, and Corey. Thank you all very much. All right, one of the moments we have all been waiting for. I'd like to introduce Harry Gross. He is the Executive Vice President of Truist, and he will present the Judge's Choice Award. Harry.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Wow, look around this room. What a great turnout today. That's awesome. Let's give our 6 presenters another round of applause. Please. What great examples of our local entrepreneurial community. Very proud. Truist is proud to support the creative community locally by funding the Judge's Choice Award today. Thank you to our judges again. Let's give them one more round of applause too. From Truist founding locally in 1926, we have made it an emphasis to support the local startup community and small business community to help businesses grow and prosper in our community. We believe this aligns with our corporate purpose of inspiring and building better lives and communities. And so now, without further ado, I do have the pleasure of announcing today's winner for the Judges' Choice Award. Do I have a drum roll here? There we go, there we go. The 2022 Judges' Choice Award goes to Eonics.
Another round of applause for Eonics, our judges and truists.
Isn't that amazing? Thank you to our judges.
Thank you.
You did not have an easy job. Thank you so much.
You did not. Head backstage. Thank you all.
Okay, Courtney. So it's the time. We asked a couple hundred of our closest friends to make a pretty big decision. So I think it's time to find out who the crowd selected to win $7,000.
Should I go get the check?
Oh wait, yeah.
Okay, I'll go
Let's
do
go
that.
get it.
I'll go do that.
Well, because there's a lot that goes into this. There's a lot of thinking. There's a lot of innovation that goes into Innovate 6.5 Week and Startup Day. Have y'all enjoyed yourselves so far? Yes.
Okay, are you ready?
I think we're ready. We'd like to present the winner of this year's Startup Day.
Crowd favorite to Primo. John Phillips, come on out.
Congratulations to John Phillips.
Congratulations,
and
John.
Primo.
There you go. Here.
All right, everybody. Congratulations, Courtney. Are we good?
We're good. John, you stay here. Members of the Innovate 6.5 Alliance, founding members, please come up to the stage. We'll take some more photos.
Otherwise, you guys, like this Innovate 6.5 Week is about these companies. Let's give another hand to all of our companies. Thank you, founders. Give a hand to yourselves. Now, we'll see you guys tomorrow at Raising and Rising. We'll see you Thursday at Made for Knoxville Live. And I get to say the thing everybody always wants to hear. The bar
is now
open. Thank you.
All right.